times when you're not going to want to store data on a permanent basis. For example, if you just want to maintain state in a game for the life of that game, well, there is another storage structure called session storage. Now, session storage allows you to store data just for the length of the session. And the session lasts as long as the user is interacting with your application before they take it off the application stack. So, session storage is actually the same API, the same commands as local storage. All you've got to do is change local to session. Everything else works identically. But now, once the session is over, the user's content, or whatever has been stored in session storage, will no longer be present on the device. And I'm sure you can think of any number of situations where you'd want to do this. Security is probably the chief reason you wouldn't want to keep certain data on the device for any longer than necessary. So now I've made all these changes just so it's now the session storage object that we're accessing, and it's still getItem, it's still setItem. So not much else has changed. But now I can go in here, we can run this application again, and now when we run it, the data that we store will not be permanent. Let's take a look here. All right, so there we go. Let me put some data in here. Bob Smith. We'll make Bob 45 years old. And we'll store the data. Data stored. We retrieve the data. There it is. Bob Smith with the crazy capital T, age 45. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and simulate turning off the device. So we'll quit the iOS simulator. And then we'll go ahead and run it again. So the application is rebuilt, and it's loading. And now if I try and retrieve data, notice I get nulls in here. And that's because that data was only there for as long as the session lasted. So if I say Mark Lassoff 38, I store to put it in session storage, retrieve data, it's still there. Go back out of the application, go into local storage, retrieve data, session's still continuing. However, as soon as the session ends, for whatever reason, whether it be something the user does on the device, you turn the device off, etc., that data disappears. So session storage is a non-permanent way to store state in your application.